You might be aware that drow equipment and weapons are fairly unique and possess properties that you would not otherwise see in equipment produced on the surface, but that the magic of drow equipment and weapons also fades if carried for too long outside of the Underdark. Why is that? Why is it, for example, that the Myconid ally that you can acquire in the Underdark in Baldur's Gate 3 cannot accompany you to the surface? Why are there so many things uniquely bound to the Underdark that never see the light of day? The reasons for this are to be found in the Faerzress, which is the magical radiation of the Underdark, a key force that binds it all together and makes it the unique place that it is, fundamentally differentiating it from the surface. So in addition to the obvious geographical and topological differences between the surface world and the Underdark, the magical radiation of the Faerzress is an essential difference because it is very likely that life would not be possible in the Underdark without it. The origin of the Faerzress can be found in high magic, as it is alleged that high magic helped shape the Underdark into what it is today. The meaning of the word Faerzress has changed over time and can be divided into fair, which on its own means magic, and zress, which means to remain in force, which then, as a compound word, means magic that remains. In the modern drow language, it has come to mean dominating magic, and there's a certain irony to this, as an essential part of the high magic that banished the drow to the Underdark bound them to the magical radiation of the place, to the Faerzress. Thus, modern drow, either for reasons of ignorance or deliberate misinterpretation in an effort to alter the reading of history, ascribe largely positive features to Faerzress, rather than negative, and it is well known that in addition to the magic of equipment and weapons degrading when removed from the Underdark, so too does the innate magic of the drow, to the point where it can permanently disappear given sufficient time spent on the surface, as all of it is sustained by the Faerzress. Faerzress is also essential to the life and growth of many types of Underdark organisms, such as fungi and rare plants, that, lacking sunlight and other means of nutrition, have evolved to feed off the magical radiation of the Faerzress. Since Faerzress is regarded with extreme positivity by the drow, and their magic to varying degrees relies on the magical radiation, when drow settlements and cities are built, they are invariably built close to such areas where Faerzress emanates strongly, and this is also in part due to the fact that, in addition to the various magical dependencies on Faerzress, drow in fact feel a calling to it, drawing them to its power as would a drug an addict, and this also explains the general reluctance, apart from loss of abilities of the drow, to leave the Underdark. This calling emerged from being banished from the surface by elven high magic long ago, as it is more cursed than anything else. It takes a very strong will indeed, of the sort that few possess, to resist it. The famous renegade drow ranger Dritz Do'Urden comes to mind, but even he took quite a while to habituate himself to the surface world upon first arriving long ago. Faerzress, however, is not just a beneficial force with respect to magic, and as closely linked to the magic of the Underdark as it is, it can also behave in strange ways akin to wild magic, destabilizing it. And you might recall the glowing blue flower called the Suzur in Baldur's Gate 3 that completely cancels out any magical spells or enchantments around it. Well, this flower too is almost certainly being sustained by Faerzress, and would likely cease to exist without it. And you can converse with Blurg, the hobgoblin, of the Society of Brilliance in the Underdark, and pass an Arcana check that will inform you that Faerzress warps teleportation and divination magic, and that it stems deep from within the earth. Which tells us that, although the drow being tied to Faerzress is factual, the presence of Faerzress in the Underdark is ultimately linked to the creation of the Underdark itself, untold millennia before any elves even lived on Toril, whether above or below. Although there is no clear definitive answer to the creation of the Underdark, Faerzress was and remains an essential part of it, and any adventurer worth his salt who plans on spending time there, or using items crafted in the Underdark, or wielding magic of the Underdark, ought to be aware of this. As always, thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. And I'll check you out next time. Take care.